Please welcome to the stage Michelle McLean and James Bermingham.
Right.
Hello.
Hello, James.
Good afternoon.
We're just going to have a lovely little tete-a-tete here. So for those of you who weren't here for the afternoon, welcome to the International Luxury Hotel Association Conference, Inspire 23. I'm sitting here with James Bermingham, CEO of Virgin Hotels. We had a chat a few days ago, and I was just imagining us sitting here with a cucumber sandwich and a cup of tea. But right now, I think we're all needing a glass of wine, right?
Absolutely. and thank you for putting me between you and the cocktail hour.
Well, we're more inspired now, like
Absolutely.
Inspired 23. James, I'm going to do like a little bit of a backstory. I know that I'm supposed to launch into all these like delving questions into the hospitality industry, but I'd like to know, how on earth did you end up as CEO of Virgin Hotels?
Well,
did you go through a strenuous, interview session with Richard, or how did that all transpire?
It all happened over a cocktail. No kidding. I was super happy. I was with the same company for 20 years that I started with Alan Firstman, Montage International. And of course, I was approached by a lot of the hotel companies over the years, and really, I had it so good at Montage that I had no intention of leaving. But having grown up in Dublin, my family would...
Oh, he's Irish.
Totally,
and I'm
totally
Scottish.
Irish. And
I think this is going to be...
My family would tell you I have never grown up. But I grew up in Dublin and spent 10 years in London and got to watch Sir Richard disrupt business after business and industry after industry. So when I got the call from Virgin, it really piqued my interest, unlike most of the other calls that I'd had. And went through a very stringent interview process, which was good. It was very important for me.
Did he take you on the air balloon, or?
No.
Just wanted to know.
No, Richard actually wasn't part of the selection process,
Oh, okay.
which was very interesting. However, he was my first video call on the very first day on the job.
Okay.
And it was myself and the board and Richard. And he's like 2 minutes late, in which for Richard, total forgiveness, right? The guy is busier than anybody I've ever worked with in my entire life. But he sits down and he apologizes, and then he looks at the camera, and you could see him move from board member to board member. And he goes, "Did you hire this guy because he looked like he could be my little brother?" So they said, "Nope." And I said, "Well, hopefully it doesn't hurt." And of course it hasn't. So what really attracted me to Virgin, which is what makes, I think, all of the Virgin companies very special, and Virgin Hotels and Virgin Limited Edition, no exception, is the way Virgin and Richard do business, and have done for over 50 years now. It's very much a purpose-driven company. And at its core, Virgin Group is a family investment office. But it is a purpose-driven investment family office. And at Virgin, we want to change business for good. And that really, to simplify it, means two things. One is the business we're in, or the industry we're in, we really want to make it different. We want to be a true champion of the customer. We want to be a true champion of the team, the employees that work there. And we want to do business differently and change that business for good. That's the first part of it. And the second part is we want to make a big difference with the planet. We want to make a big difference in the communities that we serve. And we want to make a big difference in the lives of our teammates. So it's that purpose that drives so much. It drives everything that we do. It really does. And what makes Virgin Hotels, which is a luxury lifestyle brand, and we have 8 hotels in Chicago, Vegas, Dallas, Nashville, New Orleans, Edinburgh, and just opened in Glasgow. And our sister brand is Virgin Limited Edition. which is an exquisite collection, some of which you know very well, Michelle. 4 in Africa, 2 safari lodges, a working vineyard called Mount Rochelle, and then, of course, a very special hotel, Kasbat Tamadot, in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. Then we have 2 hotels in Europe, a ski lodge in Verbier, and we just opened San Bagnola on the beautiful island of Mallorca. And then we have 2 private islands in the Caribbean, Necker and Mosquito. So it's an extraordinary brand, it's an extraordinary culture, and it's really why I'm here.
That leads me into that question is, what keeps your uniqueness in this ever-evolving hospitality industry and luxury industry?
That's a great question. And, I was asked recently, who do I compete with? Who do I look at as my competitors? And without hesitation, I said Virgin Voyages, Virgin Atlantic, and every other Virgin company out there, because we do things so differently. From heartfelt service to design to technology, and because so much of it's purpose-driven, we do a lot and we're held accountable for doing a lot for the planet and a lot for the communities that we serve. So really, when I look at a benchmark, it's really within the Virgin group of companies that I look to. And from a service standpoint, Virgin Voyages was launched a couple of years ago, right after COVID. There was one industry award that had 5 categories, and Virgin Voyages won all 5 categories. I was in New York last week with the Virgin Atlantic team, and they had just flown the very first 100% transatlantic flight, fueled 100% by sustainable fuel, which was recycled from animal fats. So
amazing.
It's so inspirational. It gives me goosebumps just to keep up with my peers within the Virgin family. And if I commit to doing that, if we commit to doing that at Virgin Hotels and at Virgin Limited Edition, then that's what's going to keep us different and unique within the hotel space.
So, there's so many different aspects to the business, but focusing on the hospitality industry here, when you choose specific locations, how does that fit in with your philosophy of Virgin Hotels? How you make those choices?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it comes, first we follow the first basic rules of real estate, which is location, location, location. Mm-hmm. Then we really want to make sure that we're very careful with the partners that we choose, that they share our vision for what we're creating as it relates to, if it's a new build, it's development. And as you heard Raul earlier say, Silver LEED certification is the minimum standard for a new hotel, because we want to create that level of product. And then it's the physical programming. Can it be a true Virgin hotel? And then I'll speak to limited edition in a moment. But at a Virgin hotel, we want to have north of 200 rooms. We want to have multiple food and beverage outlets. Culinary programming is super important to us. And for the most part, we do it in-house. Mm-hmm. Entertainment is a huge part of our DNA, no surprise, yes. Being Virgin. So great entertainment venues for DJs, for live performing artists and other forms of artistic expression is super important. So it's location, location, location. It's the partners that we do business with, and strategically, we're laser focused on North America from a growth standpoint, and on Europe, in Europe. Having said that, opportunistically, we will go wherever Virgin Atlantic flies to, or Virgin Voyages sails to. And soon, where Virgin Galactic goes to space, so we'll probably be the first to have a hotel on the moon. Or on Mars.
Okay, well, we'll be waiting for that one.
And then on the limited edition side, which is that truly exquisite portfolio, it's similar criteria. It's location, but it's, a lot of our hotels are remote, and they're super special, whether it's safari lodges or the mountain retreats or the private islands. There, we're looking for extraordinary destinations, and that can be anywhere where today's customer that really wants differentiated experiences are, whether it's a private island or a mountain retreat, or, you know, I'd love to do a limited edition in the Amazon. I'd love to do in
Namibia.
In Namibia, absolutely. Very special place, by the way.
I know.
Very special people hail
I'm
from
biased,
there.
yeah.
Oh, you're from Namibia? Oh, that's so, and there the partners equally important, and typically high net worth individuals that have a vision and a passion for that is similar to Richard's and the families, and that is long-term hold and really want to make a difference in sustainability. And, you know, and by that we mean sustainability. Like Necker Island, one of our retreats in the BVI is 100% self-sufficient for energy, and solar and wind power. And
Brilliant.
so it's deep, it's authentic, our commitment to the environment.
Now, there's another aspect to hospitality, and certainly with the new generation. My son's 24 years old. He won't travel anywhere unless there's Wi-Fi, whether it's in Namibia, whether it's a safari, whatever. So tell me about your technology and innovations. You have always, as Virgin Hotels, been leading in the world in entertainment, new experiences. But tell us about that new sort of trend.
Well, it's been very important since day one. I don't know if Raul Leal is still in the room.
No, he left.
Oh, he did. Okay. Well, Raul, I've got two things to thank him for. Firstly, he was one of the pioneers at Virgin Hotels and masterfully integrated the Virgin brand into the hospitality hotel space. The second thing I want to really thank him for, he decided the home office should be in Miami, and I am so grateful for that because this is such a great city. But he and the company embarked on technology as a differentiator at Virgin Hotels 10, 11 years ago, and we developed an app called Lucy, which is state-of-the-art. It's in all of our 8 operating hotels and everything we have in the pipeline, but it really is a loyalty program that is preference-based, which is very different to most hotel programs today. And through the app and technology, we can deliver on those preferences hotel after hotel, stay after stay.
What does preferences mean?
So what you like to eat, what you like to drink,
Okay.
the temperature of your room when you arrive.
Even the temperature of the room. Wow.
Your pillow preferences. And then very soon, we are integrating that with Virgin Red, which is the rewards program, not just for hotels, but for the 40-plus Virgin companies around the globe. Mm-hmm. So we will have that fully integrated into our loyalty program, so you have both the loyalty and the rewards element too. So technology is a huge part of our platform. And I was on a panel in London recently, and they were asking us about artificial intelligence and the use of technology and how it would apply to our business. And I was the first to answer the question, and like many of the panelists earlier today, and all of you know, this is a people business. And technology will never replace that human touch, that human element. You can't in hospitality. So I didn't talk about technology at all. One of my peers, who's major hotel brand CEO, talked about what they were doing from a technology standpoint and said, unlike James, I believe in technology. So I had to do a do-over. And I said, look, I take technology for granted because we've been doing it so well for the last 12 years. And everything that she had described, we'd already done. But technology is a huge part of what
So that was interesting because when we had a discussion before, being here today in Miami, you mentioned that Virgin Hotels was one of the first hotels to have virtual check-in, so you didn't have to interface. Someone like myself, I travel a lot. Sometimes I'm overtired. I really don't want to have to deal with reception. And that would be, that's a great opportunity to have. So how has that evolved for you? Because the world over, everybody's doing it now.
Yeah, it's, again, we were one of the pioneers of doing that, and it's not at all designed to replace the interaction with our team at the front desk. But how many times have you arrived at a hotel and you're on a conference call? And the last thing you want to do is put it on hold. So through our app, not only can you make the reservation, get your digital key, you can check in remotely, you can order room service before you arrive to be delivered in the room, and if you so choose, you can completely bypass the front desk experience. And that's really meeting the customer where the customer is. And, you know, I like to interact with the front desk when I arrive, but if I'm on a conference call, it's
you want that privacy, you want that opportunity.
That's right, absolutely.
So, but that, you know, the antithesis is obviously the cultural experience when you get to, you know, especially, you know, traveling the world, you get to European cities, they're pretty much standard, you have a certain interaction, but when you go, say for instance, on a safari, those experiences with the community, how do you integrate that in your, I guess, even in Europe, you know, integrating within the communities, whether it's in Spain, whether it's in Italy. How does that affect your hotel, you know, sort of processing of experience for the guest?
Yeah, it's critical. You know, Virgin being such a global brand, and it truly is, we at Virgin Hotels, Unlimited Edition, we want to be hyper-local. So it starts with design and architecture that's inspired locally. It's followed by F&B concepts that have really got to have a great sense and spirit of place, and uniform programming, but most importantly, it's the people.
Right.
And we want to hire locally. And our goal, even in you know, markets where you traditionally rely on expatriates to lead the hotel, we are laser focused on making sure that the entire team at the hotel is local. Like in Morocco, Casbah Tabadat in the Atlas Mountains is one of the most beautiful and successful hotels in the world. 100% of the team that works there is from Morocco. The same in Mahali, Missouri, the Safari Lodge in Kenya. That is how deeply we are committed to not just the community, but creating the authenticity of place. You know, the Irish make great hoteliers, the Swiss, the French, and the Americans, but you put us in the jungle, we're not authentic. You know.
So does that also sort of integrate into your design of the hotels?
Critically important.
Be it Morocco or Africa or Europe?
We want it truly to reflect the destination that we're in. So, which Rich has been doing for 30-odd years in the hotel business, and you know, the big brands are catching up with that that consumer desire for truly authentic experiences. We've been doing that for decades, and it is all about the people, the design, the culinary programming and offerings, and it goes all the way through.
That's what I was going to ask you is, you know, you've got a very vast sort of years of experimental sort of designs for your hotels with F&B. Tell us a little bit about that, and are you going to sort of new avenues now, or, you know, you've been trendsetters for many years. What are your ideas with the F&B culinary experience?
Well, it's really, we're going to stay true to being hyper local. So we always want to be inspired by what local communities really enjoy. Like when you're in New York, we want you to feel like you're in New York. We want you to interact with local New Yorkers while you're in the restaurants and bars there, because that again comes back to it adds to the authenticity of that experience. And you know, studying markets like New York and Miami, which is one of the most exciting food and culinary scenes, in my opinion, in the world right now, it's staying current with those trends and then applying them in each of the markets that we do. But it's not a cookie-cutter approach. We have, you know, common names around our food and beverage programming, but we have a different concept which is inspired locally in every market we're in. And then, of course, entertainment is a huge part of what we do. So as we design and as we program F&B, which very often makes up 45-50% of our total revenues, we want to make sure they're great entertainment spaces too.
So do you foster that local culture and innovation within, those areas that you have built your hotels?
Absolutely.
Tell us a bit about that, because that's inspiring, I think, for a lot of, it's for the guest experience, right? They go away saying, this is, my intrinsic experience of this place, but from your hotel perspective.
Like Commons Club is a restaurant name that we have pretty much in all of our hotels, but the experience that's offered in Edinburgh is vastly different to the experience that's offered in New Orleans. And in part because we hire locally. We want the best culinary talent in every market, and then we want to express what inspires them. But mostly we want in Edinburgh to be filled with folks from Edinburgh, and in New Orleans, folks from New Orleans. Because if you're doing 65% of your food and beverage business with the local market, you have it right. That's the first benefit. The second is, of course, when you have international travelers or even domestic travelers going to a city for the first time, and they're hanging out with locals, that's part of the authenticity of the experience, and it creates that great sense and spirit of place.
That's a very interesting perspective, because a lot of countries focus on international travelers to make their tourism work. And certainly from our perspective in Namibia, we need the international traveler. We need
Absolutely.
that, economic support for the country, for tourism. And we forget about our locals.
That's right.
And yet they are the dynamite behind, igniting the interest in our country.
That is so true. And, it's when you want to create a successful business and a successful brand, the first stakeholder that's got to believe in that is the people that work for you and with you. The second is the community where you're located. If you can truly embrace the community, and more importantly, have them truly embrace you, then you can become a global brand. Almost overnight. But those two first stakeholders, they've got to believe in you. It's got to be where they want to be. And when you get that right, then the international traveler, which is hugely important to us in every market, is really going to resonate with that brand too.
So I think for all of us here, we're looking at 2024. What is it going to hold for all of us in our respective businesses? What does it look like for Virgin Hotels? What is on the horizon, 2024?
Well, firstly, 2024 is going to be a great year. We're going to, in Q1, see interest rates begin to come down. You're going to see the debt market stabilize.
Yes.
You're going to see the average room rate premium that we've been able to drive so successfully in almost every market around the world maintain.
Correct.
And you're going to see business travel come back super strong, and you're going to see group travel and leisure travel continue to be strong.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big believer in you got to believe what you want. And so that's what I believe. Now it's my job and your job to convince the rest of the world that interest rates really will come down in the first quarter of next year. But I believe they will. And it's interesting. Virgin's been around for 50-odd years, but on the Virgin Hotel side, we're a relatively new brand. Of the 8 operating hotels, 7 of them opened immediately prior to, during, or post-COVID. So we have a lot of stabilization to do because I don't need to tell you, but during COVID, you couldn't get hold of a meeting planner unless you were returning a deposit. You couldn't get a business travel program manager to add a new hotel into their program. So, we missed 18 months of the typical relationship building and business building. So we're very much focused on consolidation and really perfecting what we do in 2024. Now, having said that, we have 3 projects. As soon as the capital markets begin to come back in the first quarter of next year, almost shovel-ready to break ground. And we've got some pretty exciting renovation plans in a couple of our existing portfolios. But it's going to be a great year.
Well, we're looking forward to that. And we're very grateful to have you here today.
Thank you, Michelle.
It's been absolutely awesome.